In this video, I'm going to talk through the process of installing a vacuum brake booster in your Lexus GS made between the model years 1998 and 2005. The electronic braking system that was in these cars that you typically would see in place of the one I have here are sometimes when they get older they get faulty. They're expensive to replace. A new unit is $2,300 and a used unit with an unknown history and not really knowing if it gonna do its job long term is about $300. This installation with new parts was about $200, so it's already cheaper. On the flip side, it does take some time, so when you factor that in, it's the equivalent of buying a used one. But even still, in my opinion, I think this is a better choice. There's less things to go wrong. So the parts you'll need, you're going to need the Toyota Avalon master cylinder, reservoir, and booster. You will need a couple lengths of brake line and a tube bender. My lines, you can tell the bends aren't great. This is my first time doing it, but practice makes perfect. It doesn't leak, which is good. But you'll probably need a 10-inch length and maybe like a 12, I believe. I did this swap a year ago and haven't had any trouble with it. You also need the Wilwood pulsation damper, and that's for the rear wheels to keep them from locking up. This one I haven't adjusted at all. It's exactly where it was when I got it, and I haven't had a locking issue. Hopefully when the country opens up I can do some autocross. I will adjust it so that because of the heavy braking I don't want my rear locking up, so I can adjust it with that. So that's why that is there. And as far as electronics go, to make this work, come over to your fuse box in front of your battery, and you RHD guys lucked out. Some of your cars don't have immobilizers, so you really don't have to worry about this at all. But the only fuse you remove is this one, and Toyota is nice because they put the schematic on the inside of the cover. So that is ABS number 240A. That's the only one you take out. If you take out the other ABS one in there, your car is going to stall. It's not going to run. I tried it. Also, the ABS computer is down in the footwell, kind of up to the left side of the gas pedal. If you remove the plugs from that, the car won't run. Because they all talk to each other, it still has to be installed. You will need to disconnect the buzzer down in there for the ABS. Because if you don't, it's going to ring constantly, and it's a shrill, unnerving tone that you just don't want. And that's as far as electronics go. As far as ECUs are concerned, I know for a fact this works with ECUs with no immobilizer. So on a 2JZ GTE VVTi, it's not an issue. If you're running standalone engine management like AEM, Haltech, or Pro EFI, it won't be an issue. But for factory Toyota ECUs that do have an immobilizer, I'm not 100% sure that this will work for you. But the reason it might is when I did this, my ECU was bad, so I had to pair a new key, and without the brake system that was OEM to this car here, I was unable to reprogram the key into the car because the brake pedal system has to be connected to that factory unit for it to register. So I was doing a swap anyway, so I didn't really worry about it too much, and the car turned right over and ran and braked and etc. with no issues with this engine in the car. So in the comments, if you've done something similar on your GS and swapped out this system to this or something similar out of a GZX 100 or 90 or whatever, leave it in the comments and let me know. It'd be great to get something together so it's easier for the next guy trying to figure this out. As far as the shaft coming off of this brake booster and to the brake pedal, you have to extend it. So you can either weld an extension to the fork that goes to the brake pedal, or you can use one of these. You'll want one probably like about 1.5 inches or 2 inches long, and you're going to thread a stud into the other side that's not attached to the brake pedal. And on the stud end of this, you're going to attach the fork which goes to your brake pedal. And I'm going to attach the video of mine from underneath the dash so you can see how I set it up. It's very simple. It's just time consuming and a bit tedious, but it works. I assure you it works. I drive this car almost every day. And then the shaft that comes out of this side of the booster into the master cylinder, that shaft needs to be turned in, and you'll see the threads when you get it. You just want to bring that nut all the way to the as far back as it can go, righty-tighty, and you're fine. Because of the throw, you don't want it engaged all the time, and that's why you have to turn it back. So like I said, if you have any questions or you've done this before, leave it in the comments what your experience was, any issues you had, successes you had, and we'll put something together. In the description, I'm going to leave a link to Club Lexus for the write-up I and one other person did, and I'll also do a parts list. So I wish you the best and take it easy. So if you look in this video, you can see the nut that comes with the booster is right to the rubber grommet. Then you can see my spacer nut, and then you can see the stud with the fork on it. If you match this distance the way I have, the throw is pretty much the same it was with the Lexus pedal.